Hi Cool Atheist Table and YouTube. My name is Marissa McCool and I'm doing my first YouTube video, which is a Q&A session from members from that group, although I will be posting it publicly. The group members asked a lot of questions, some of them serious, some of them not, and I'll try to get to all of them and explain the best I can. Some of these are interesting questions. And most people ask multiple questions, so I'll do my best here. Maybe that's one. No, that's not one more. I wish I could turn off that. But how will I know if another question's asked if I don't look? Okay, first one. If you were being exiled to a desert island and could bring 3 things with you, what would they be? And by exiled, I mean nobody can come rescue you. Well, since there was no qualifier that there could not be electricity, I would have to have my laptop so I could keep writing, and maybe I'd find an internet connection where I could still send in my screenplays and novels and stuff like that. That would be an essential one. 2, my book collection, as that is definitely one thing. It is a group of things, but it is one thing. And number 3, I don't know. Makeup? Does that count? Because just because no one's ever going to see me doesn't mean I don't want to look good. And I love the Urban Decay makeup that a certain friend got for me. I'm wearing it all right now. What are your thoughts on Kenny Clark? I'm not that interactive in the group. I haven't had a problem with anybody. Kenny did ask a question on here, and I'm thankful for that. It seems pretty funny. But as you've noticed, I'm not the most talkative girl in the world, so I don't have anything bad to say. Does that count? Who do you consider to be your main inspiration in life? Depends on what we're talking about as far as inspiring goes. If we're talking screenwriting, Aaron Sorkin probably. Someone who is clearly not writing realistically, but writing stylistically and idealistically. Because I appreciate the fact that we all know that the whole world doesn't speak that fast, that intelligently, and make that many references to old Hollywood, literature, and the arts. But I, for one, wish they did. If we're talking from a filmmaker, not so much in film style, but in method, would be Kevin Smith, simply because he was someone who just said, nothing out there is relating to me, so I'm going to make something that does. And he used his friends, and he wrote it himself and did it himself, and that's what I hope to do. I've already done a couple films that way, and I'm not really interested in writing just another Hollywood movie. I really hope that if I can make it in the business, someone or a lot of people will see me as a go-to person for a certain style, like I said, kind of like Sorkin. That's kind of a narrow focus as far as inspiration goes. People inspire me all the time. And it looks like I forgot to turn off my cell phone. How professional of me. As far as other inspirations go, Doug Walker's another one. He, once again in the vein of Kevin Smith, did what he wanted to do and made a huge success out of being funny on the internet. Something I've been trying to do for a couple years. Haven't really found as much success, but I do have a sizable fan base, although none of them have ever seen me like this, and it is going on a different YouTube channel. As far as stand-up would go, Christopher Titus, somebody who gets up on stage, tells his life story and makes it funny, but is also very motivational, not just inspirational. Someone who really wants you to get up and do something about what's wrong in your life instead of just sitting and feeling sorry for yourself. I hit rock bottom probably 6 years ago, and recovery doesn't happen right away, and there's a lot of bumps in the road, and you just can't give up. And and he's really the biggest stand-up comedian I've seen who emphasizes that. Kind of get off your ass and do it, because you don't get a refund on time. My friend Sam is another big inspiration for me. She and Holiday and Gibbs and a lot of Jessica. Sorry. A lot of my other female friends, and you know, there are male friends of course too, who have been very supportive ever since I came out. But those four, and Amanda, and I know I'm missing a lot of people, and especially in the group, Natty and Libby and Megan, and so many of my female friends, both on the internet and in real life. They inspire me because they've been so supportive and so understanding and so empathetic. When I came out, my friend Catherine too, she bought me, you know, took me thrift shopping and helped do my makeup, and Jessica did a photo shoot for me. And a lot of you on this Facebook page have just done and said such wonderful things, and it's really made me regret not figuring this out sooner, but I wish I had. In this group, nobody said a mean thing, unlike the Godless Mingle group. Most people in there have been very nice, but some people in surprisingly open-minded group have said a lot of hateful things, and wow, did I really get off on a tangent there. Other questions? Cat's running around. Who is hotter, Libby or Natty G? You're both beautiful. I love you both. I'm not gonna pick one of you over the other. You're both amazing. Favorite music, and what is pie? A pie is a thing that you divide up to show percentages of something. Perhaps a poll. The big circle, and you can slice up the pie according to how many people agree that the moon landing was faked, or whatever, you know what I mean. And as far as favorite music goes, I would have to say swing music, jazz music. You know, people like the Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Cherry Poppin' Daddies, Cab Calloway. That's really my favorite kind of music. I don't get much more specific than that because my taste is really eclectic. As you can see behind, I like Dream Theater, Pink Floyd, prog rock, blues. I'm not much of a genre person, it's more of an individual basis kind of thing. Biggest regret in life? Where do I start? That's kind of a deep question. Probably screwing up in high school, getting myself a lot farther behind than I should have been. That's why I'm in college at 29, but to be fair, going back to college did get me into an Ivy League school. But I had a chance to start college at 16, and I just didn't have the maturity to do it. And if I had, I might have been out of school before I was 21, and that could have gotten me very far ahead in the world. So while the life experience I gained and going back was great, it's kind of tough to be 11 years older than a lot of your classmates. There's a lot of differences in life perspective and experiences, especially in the Ivy League, where most of the kids have never had to work and don't have to worry about money, and I'm 29 commuting 2 hours and have to go to work in the morning. So it's different. I'm not saying it's better, it's different, but I definitely regret not taking advantages of some of the chances I had early. Hey, I was, never mind. I don't think that's a question. Oh, it's a reference to someone not doing their video. Okay. Okay, that's not a question. When you eat with a fork and knife, which hands control which implement? I use the fork with the left hand, then I cut with the right. Is that what you're asking? That's random, but I'll take it. So, yep, that's it. Scroll! If If you were on death row, what would your last meal be? Okay, we've gotten a little morbid here. Cake. Lots of cake. I love cake, and I can be bribed to do anything if there might be cake. So, hint, hint. If you were on death row, who would you have murdered? Nobody. That would have to be a false accusation, because I won't even hurt people, let alone kill them. Wow. I would say probably the only reason that could happen would be if someone hurt my kids. And I think if someone were hurting my kids and they paid for it, I wouldn't be on death row. At least I would hope not. If you were murdered, what would your last meal probably have been? Why? And cake! Of course cake! But that's... I don't want to get murdered. No! What is your proudest achievement? Okay. After the death row stuff, that's a nice little transition. Probably getting into Penn. As I was describing, I was out of high school at 16 for reasons I'm not really going to get into. But, you know, I screwed up college and languished for quite a long time. But I went back to community college at 25, and 2 years of community college got me a full tuition grant to an Ivy League school, the University of Pennsylvania. And while I do have to still take out student loans for life expenses, because, like I said, I commute 2 hours, I pay rent, I have a job, and I have to take off work to get there, it's still probably, as far as achievement goes, my proudest one, because it's definitely a different world and not a lot of people like me get in there. So my friend Holiday and Gibbs are two people I've met there that have really been very supportive as far as that goes. So they're definitely my closest friends at Penn, and we're supposed to go shopping at some point, so I look forward to that. But getting in there, yeah, that was a big deal. Placing in a film festival with zero experience not only was an achievement that I was proud of, but it also changed the course of my education. That's probably a follow-up somewhere. What would your superpower be if you had any? Hair removal. If I could get rid of body hair and permanently and do that for other people, that would be a pretty cool superpower. It wouldn't really save the world, but it would make things a lot easier for myself and other people. What would you name your alter ego? I already did. Marissa McCool. This is the name of my alter ego. I assume you meant for superhero, but it has alliteration. It's awesome. Let's see. If you were an animal, what would your favorite color be? I'm going to say gray, because animals are mostly colorblind. So let's go with shark skin gray, because it is the name of an animal too, and it's light gray, and I have a shark skin suit. So yeah, let's go with that. If you could own any animal as a pet, what would it be? I'll keep my kitty. That's good enough for me. Are you more of a Laverne or a Shirley? I'm more of an Arya Stark. We'll go with that. How much does a polar bear weigh? Random. But I'm gonna guess he weighs whatever a godless killing machine weighs. What other genres of film have you wanted to write? I've always wanted to mix genres. I don't like to write one specific genre because there's always cliches and expectations. And the complaint is either that it's too cliche or that it doesn't fit enough within the 3-act structure, so I try to mix genres and subvert expectations. Like, I wrote a comedy mystery. The next one I'm writing, I don't even know how to classify it yet. Probably a dramedy. But crossing boundaries, and it's very important to me to always have something about gender roles involved, and the next one does too. When that's done, I'll post it. Do you twirl pasta around your fork, or do you cut it up like an idiot? Who the hell cuts up pasta? Communists? Okay, there's the question about what exactly is your situation in reference to my gender identity. I'm what's called bigendered, or gender fluid. It's pretty much the same thing. I call it the Marissa scale, or the Marissa ruler. If you picture a ruler, and 0 is my male side, and 12 is Marissa, I'm always somewhere on that scale, and right now I'm a 12, so I'm always somewhere floating in between. Sometimes I really am in the middle, sometimes I have some girl clothes on and some guy clothes on and eyeliner, and other times I'm really just a guy, although that isn't too often, to be honest. I got to this point because over a very long period of time I wrestled with it and wasn't honest with myself. And now that I am, it's liberating, and I really have no interest in going back. Not everybody knows. My Marissa Facebook has about 200 friends. My main Facebook has about 1,100. And probably half of the Marissa ones are not from my original, so maybe 10% of the people I know. Some probably, others suspect, but I'm not going to postulate on that. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't have to be awkward. I'm pretty open to talking about it, so don't worry about that. Favorite fetish? Role reversal. Favorite poem and poem? Sonnet 38, Shakespeare. List your guilty pleasures for the following categories. Food. Cake! Haven't you been listening? TV show? Girl Meets World. Yeah, I'm not a 12-year-old girl, but I still watch Girl Meets World because I watched Boy Meets World, and I don't care. Judge me. Movie? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a movie I like that would be considered a guilty pleasure. House Arrest, maybe? A terrible, cliche 90s comedy? Or Bushwhacked? That one too? Oh, I know. The Room. The Room is my guilty pleasure movie because I love every terrible, agonizing second of it, and it has made me laugh more than any comedy ever has. It's not true. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. And music? Which one? Probably Samantha Fox. When you were a kid, how did you picture yourself as an adult? Depends on what age we're talking. When I was 5, I thought I'd be a firefighter. When I was 4, I was going to be Superman. When I was 6, I was going to be a Ninja Turtle. But I don't know, that was always changing. But I always saw myself writing probably from the age of 7 or so, because I would write stories and do a lot of extra credit, things like that. But it's even to the last few years, that's always been changing. I saw myself teaching a lot, and I do kind of do that. I've mentored a lot and created my own Facebook group to help people, because for some reason, well, not for some reason, it's true, but I'm a very empathetic, non-judgmental person, and people feel comfortable talking to me, and I try to create that environment for everybody who either comes into my house or that Facebook group. How do you stay so strong? Because for so long I had to be suppressed and I had to lie to myself. And all of my relationships probably failed because I wasn't being honest with them, because I couldn't be honest with myself. It really took, after the most recent breakup, a lot of self-analysis. And that's what I came to, was that Marissa was not just a character that I played as an 18-year-old who was trying to make his friends laugh, that it's a part of me, and probably a majority of me. So I'm as strong as I am because I know what it's like to not be able to express yourself and have to ignore part of yourself. And I'd rather take some of the taunting and stupid questions and hate that goes with being open than to live as half of a person. I don't want to go through that again. And for every bad comment I've ever gotten, I've gotten 20 supportive ones. A lot of them from people on here. So it's worth the trade-off. It's worth going to HMAC and singing karaoke and get a standing ovation for singing the Time Warp in my Columbia voice. That is the memory I'm going to remember, not someone questioning whether or not I'm an abomination of God. I don't even believe in God, so it's irrelevant what a mythical being that was thought up 4,000 years ago thinks about my gender identity. And to be honest, I don't see anything about gender identity in the Bible. And I've actually read it, unlike a lot of the people who are saying those things. Who was the most surprising person to support you? I was surprised most people who did support me did, not because I thought they were closed-minded or judgmental, but because I didn't know how people would react. Until a few months ago, only a few people even knew about Marissa, and some people did, but I don't know if there was a most surprising. Just the people who did in general surprised me in a good way. Probably the ones that have known me the longest. Those are the ones that surprised me the most, but then again, most of them, if they knew me well enough, already knew, so I really don't know. It's always a surprise when someone's cool with it, because I live in the middle of Pennsylvania. There's so many people who have such a narrow mind of things. I was even called a faggot going out of the freaking restaurant last week, and I wasn't even dressed up. I just had a feather boa, and I just wanted to I don't know, I handled it pretty well, but it was still like, really? You're going to call me a faggot for having a feather boa? I'm not going to take fashion advice from someone wearing a camo hat. No offense to anyone who has a camo hat. Let's see, did anyone else ask anything? Nope, that wasn't another one. So, that wraps up my first Q&A. I also posted my stand-up debut. I haven't worked on it since because it's the same place, but check it out if you're interested in seeing me talk more about that. Thanks, Cool Atheist Table. I'm glad I could be a part of your group.